This is Yusuf with ERPChampions.com. Alright, so for accountants, how do you deal with deferred expenses or deferred revenue? So the situation is, let's say you pay an insurance cost in advance. Okay, let's say you pay for insurance, say in advance for a year at, say, 100,000 per month for 12 months. So that means you pay 1.2 million in advance. Now, just to discuss the accounting entries, you definitely want to debit, your deferred insurance expense, and credit your bank or cash, right? And then on a monthly basis, you would like your insurance expense recognized at 100K, and so that the deferred insurance expense account is also deducted by 100K on a monthly basis. So how can we achieve this with ERPNext? So there are two ways. All right. So you've noted I've used a note within the ERPNext to keep some of my notes. These can be private or public and can be shared with other team members, and we can have a string of comments to discuss them, and you can email them to someone. So these are some of the features of ERPNext, a software which we love so much. So start off with checking out your account settings, and within the account settings there are deferred accounting settings. You could prefer to have them computed based on the number of days, so it will divide them throughout depending on the number of days in each month, or it could go on a monthly basis. I would prefer to go on a monthly basis so that they are broken down evenly. Now, you could have this done automatically or manually. Okay, let's start with the automatic option. So once I've configured the deferred accounting entries to be done on an automatic basis, so I'm purchasing insurance services. Okay, so I'm posting my purchase invoice. So let's say this is my insurance supplier, and I'll have to enter an insurance service. Okay, so it's not in yet, so I can create it. Insurance, grouped under services. I'd like to measure it in months. No need to maintain stock. No need for all that. And right here in the accounting tab, I can enable deferred expenses, and I set the period to 12. Furthermore, I would set my okay, these are all demo companies. I would set my default expense account so that it goes to the insurance expense under indirect expenses. Okay. All right. So I have set the deferred expense, and furthermore, I have set the insurance expense in the chart of accounts. So remember, whenever we create a new item, we should always connect it to the chart of accounts in that way. Okay, so it's enabled. I get back to my invoice creation. Okay, so I could get back to select your supplier, select the insurance item you've just created, and you're paying for 12 months in advance at 100,000 in advance. You could improve this item table. I would like to show the unit of measure, right? And bring it after the quantity. Set the size so that they're equal. Okay, so I'm paying for 12 months in advance at 100,000 each. And then edit the items table so that you further cross-check on these accounting details. So the expense head has been set as the insurance expense, which is fine. And then the deferred expense account needs to be set with the service start date and service end date. So the automatic method of processing deferred entries actually is best for expenses going forward. Say today on the 31st July, I am booking, I've already paid for it starting today, going forward for the next 12 months. So by going with the automatic computation of deferred expenses, that means on a monthly basis going forward, the entry will be posted. All right. So I will need to have a deferred expense account. Let me create that. All right. And since it's deferred, let me classify it under my current assets, because it's something I've paid in advance. Okay, so just to confirm, deferred insurance expense, the service is starting today and it's going for the next 12 months, and deferred expense is enabled. And really, since I set the automatic method, this is all I have to do. I submit the invoice, and that's it. I'll just have to wait on a monthly basis for the system to automatically post journals. You could confirm that the accounting treatment is accurate for this purchase invoice, that indeed your creditors have been credited and the deferred insurance expense has been debited. It should have been creditors or cash if paid. So that on a monthly basis, this transaction, so this is the transaction we've done. So on a monthly basis, this transaction will be posted. And that is the automatic method. So what about the manual method? How would we go about it? All right, so let me first go to account settings, disable this so that it is manual, and these entries will be booked via journal entry, and I would want them to be submitted so that I don't have to deal with them. Let them be submitted and not in draft state. Okay, so having said that, I get back to my, say, my purchases invoices. So let me just cancel this, which I created when the settings were automatic, so that I amend it and I allow for it to be amended. Now, the manual method, ideally, it works for both cases, but ideally it works if maybe this is an expense which I incurred previously. Say I incurred it 2 months ago, but I would like to manually create those deferred entries on a backdated, basis. The automatic method is best for going forward, but this manual method helps with backdated entries. All right, everything else is fine. Set as before. Insurance expense is the accounting head. Deferred insurance, but maybe the service starts 2 months before. All right. Okay. I save and submit this. Okay. So the difference with this, and you can check, no journal entries were created during the automatic method. So with the manual method, you would then have to go an extra mile and say process deferred accounting. Okay. So these are the various this is the document you use to process deferred accounting entries. So let's add, and we say it's an expense, and our account is the deferred insurance expense. The posting date we've seen is backdated to 2 months ago. We would like the service to start, say 1st May, and it ends 1st May 2025. Okay. Once you save and submit, okay, default email is not set up, but that shouldn't stop us from reload. Okay, that is submitted. Let's cross check with the journal entries. Right, so it has processed a total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, it has processed 8 entries. Those are the ones within the financial year. The rest will be created when the new financial year begins. So you can check this out. Starting from 31st May, the insurance expense has been debited. Deferred insurance has been credited. Okay, going all the way to 31st December. So because the fiscal year is limited to only 2024, that's why the transactions have been stopped in 2024, but they could have gone on. And if you check the general ledger, you could cross-check on the deferred insurance account, so that indeed from 1st May, that on a monthly basis, a journal entry is being posted to reduce your deferred expense. Great. So that is how deferred income and expenses can be dealt with. Catch you later on the next one.